Have you ever gone silent when it mattered most? Walked away from a conversation only later to think, that's what I should have said? Or do you ever feel like what you're talking about is completely lost in translation? Well, my friend, you're not alone and you're in the right place. Welcome to Breaking Bad Communication, where we challenge the habits, headspace, and hangups that keep you from being heard. I'm Kathy Riley, communication strategist, founder of the Clarity Code, and your guide with over 25 years in the courtroom and 15 years as a speaker, trainer, and entrepreneur. This podcast is your real world playbook for mastering tough conversations, building unshakable confidence, and showing up with the kind of clarity that changes everything from boardrooms to break rooms to your own backyard. So if you're ready to ditch the second guessing and to speak in a way that actually lands and builds trust, let's break bad together. I'm so thankful you are here and tuning in, my friends. And today I wanted to share with you, it's just me today, it's just me, share with you some power moves you can do right here, right now, moving forward that will actually improve how other people hear you, understand you, see you, get them to lean in and pay attention. Because communication, how often are we talking to people and they just don't hear us? Not because that what we're saying is poor, right? We don't have a quality in the words that we're saying. It's because they can tune us out. There's so much noise. There's so much noise in the world right now. How can we step up as humans and communicate, up level the way we communicate so that we're seen, we're heard, and we're understood? So put your seatbelt on, my friends. We're going to talk about some 3 power moves that you can make, that you can incorporate. And I'm stuttering on my words, but we're just going to keep rolling with this. So the first power move or tool is to think about when you are speaking. And this is my 3 P's. I'm going to share with you 3 P's. The first is the power. It's the power behind your word. It's the energy behind the words you're using when you're talking to people. Well, are you even paying attention? What does it look like? I know one of the things that I hear often, I should say, from people is, I just love your energy. I love your energy. And I share it, right, through how I show up. I'm always smiling. I give lots of compliments. My tone out and the energy behind my words is always optimistic, powerful, empowering. But I would like you to know, power isn't behind the words. It's not volume. That doesn't mean you start shouting or you get really soft. That's not what I mean at all by the power. It's the energy, it's the emotion, it's the conviction. Your voice carries your belief. So if you're in a meeting and you're talking about this tchotchke that you think is going to help your team improve their numbers, you better be talking about it like this is gonna work. Like your energy, your belief is behind that. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people who are supposed to be an expert in their industry, and yet they talk about it in a way that it's like they don't care. It's just like, yeah, it's this or that. And how am I supposed to believe you? How am I supposed to lock arms with you, want your tchotchke, your service, if you don't even have the energy and belief and conviction behind the words? How often do we have teachers, right, sharing their genius, right, math, English, whatever it is, and they're just talking in a way that nobody's listening? I mean, if you think back to some of your favorite teachers, it's because they had that energy. They brought that energy whenever they were talking about their subject. And you were like, God, and I loved it. Right? Remember that when you're communicating with other people, with your family, with your coworkers, with your team, while you're out networking, whatever it is, think about the power behind your words and the energy, and how do you want it to be heard? Okay, so that's my first P. So you don't have to shout to be powerful, but you do have to own your voice. Confidence is contagious, and the energy behind your words is what make people lean in or tune out. Ah, so the second P. All right, second P is pace. Pace. What is the pace at which you're speaking? It wasn't long ago that I was in this networking group. I was growing my business. It was gosh, there was about 50 of us in the room. And one of the women in the room who also owned her business would talk so fast that and I remember reaching over to the person next to me to say, what did she say? And they're like, oh, that she just talks fast. And I remember talking to her about, whoa, wait, hold on. Can you say that again? And she's like, yeah, I get that a lot. I know I talk fast. If you hear that you talk fast, make it conscious. You can talk slower. The ability at which you communicate is yours. You get to choose. Yes, you may be nervous or whatever, but you can take a beat and you can slow down. Now, on the opposite is true. And I've seen this from a stage. Ooh, better yet. So here I am working as a litigation paralegal and was across the room, newly assigned to this attorney. He's the same age as me. I actually have had more experience because he went to law school. So I got a couple of years on him in the industry. But he was one of those people that, I just cranky. He's a kind of cranky guy. And I remember we started these meetings out, and oftentimes he would take his time to make a point and would make you really uncomfortable because he couldn't. And I think it was, it was probably how he was thinking, right? I don't think he was doing this to torture anybody, although it was torture, but he wouldn't get to his point. He would slow down, and I think he was just thinking a lot. So me being the helpful person that I am, and I use that, with the double-edged sword, it could be helpful. I would finish a sentence. And there were times that it was like, yeah, it was good, right? He's like, yes, that's what I mean. And so we would navigate. There was one time, and then so we were working together probably about 3 months now. And there was one time that he was especially slow. And, we're working as in litigation, we bill by the hour, right? So time is money. Literally, time is money. And there was a lot that I had on my plate. There's a lot that he had on his plate. And I was, again, finishing his sentences, especially as he was slowing down, because I knew the direction. I knew what he wanted. I was pretty darn good at my job. I knew what he wanted. And he slammed his hand down on the table with a big bam. And do not interrupt me when I'm speaking. And I'm, okay. So I was quiet. I'm like, that's it. You finish what you're saying. We ended the meeting and I moved on, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. There's a way to say that, and there's a way to not. But the point of the matter was, he was so in his head, speaking in such a slow, torturous, manner that it drove me nuts. So clearly, we were not ideal team members. But think about that. Are there times where other people finishes your sentences? Right? Are there times where people tell you to slow down? How are other people hearing you? What is the feedback that they're giving you? And pay attention, because that's feedback. That's what that is. The genius is in the feedback. When they tell, okay, I'm speaking too fast. Let me take a beat. Let me practice saying things at a slower pace. All right, I'm talking too slow. Let me get to the point where I'm speeding up, right? I'm getting through these points, right? Whatever it is. Pace is important to maintain attention. So your audience, whether it's one to one or one to many, they're going to lean in, right? When you're on pace, when you're keeping up with their brain, your brain, we are in sync. That's what pace can do, is allow you to be in sync with the person you're talking with. And we're on the same page and we got the same beat and we're moving forward and it feels good and it's positive. That's what pace can do. Now, keep in mind, you can use pace to your advantage as well. Once you recognize that, okay, I have a decent pace when I'm speaking, then you can speed it up a little bit when you're getting really excited. And I'm very excited to share this tip with you because my 3 Ps are pretty powerful. You're just going to love it. Put your seatbelt on, my friend, right? And we can slow down to make a point. And that point may not be anything really tangible. But when you slow down your pace, other people will lean in because they think you have something important to say. But if you keep talking like this, you're going to create frustration. So pace is a powerful tool to get people excited and leaning into the conversation and staying connected with you. So think of pace like a punctuation in real life. If you talk too fast, you risk steamrolling your point. If you talk too slow, people lose it, right? And they fall asleep. So you've got to find your sweet spot. What is for you is going to be different than me. That's going to be different from everybody else. But then know that you can also use pace to get people to lean in, to be a little more energetic, right? Or to get serious as you slow down. So pace is a powerful tool. Number 3, my third P is pause. The power of pause. It is an underrated superpower. It really, really is. It gives people time to catch up. Oftentimes when we're speaking with, our team, others, or even from stage, we ask questions. And yet then we kind of steamroll into the next point. But what happens is you've got to give the other person's brain time to respond, to really digest the information that you're giving them. You've got to allow them to get the meaning. You've got to allow them to get their noodle working and to think. So that's where pause can come in. You pause after keywords for impact too. And I even say this, let me say this again. You can pause for impact. Right? Pause is powerful. And silence, my friends, silence is not awkward. I'm an introvert. I am really okay with the silence. But most people aren't. And I invite you to know that silence is not a bad thing. Think of it this way. When people are silent in a meeting or when you're on stage or in a conversation, they're thinking. So give them a beat. Let them have that. Because you can, if you actually look and pay attention to their nonverbal communication, you can see their brain working, right? You see them really going like, oh. And they've got to take that next step. You've got to let them. You've got to let them. It's so powerful. The pause, I'll never forget. So I was working with one of my first coaches, and she was a business coach. So it had nothing to do with this, with speaking. But she was in the room when I gave one of my talks. And this is one of the first times that I was giving my talk on me, right? About my health journey, about my resiliency, about using your voice and all of that. And we went for a walk like a week later or whatever. And I asked her for her feedback because she spoke a lot. And she said there was that silence is uncomfortable. And she said, you've got to keep the crowd moving. And it's funny because she said something and she was being an example, right? And so she was slowing down with her pace. And then she paused and I leaned in and she's like, do you see how you leaned in right there? She's like, it's like you're just hanging on my words. She goes, that's not good. And I'm like, what? Wait. I'm like, oh, it's not. Okay. Yeah, oh, okay. And I listened to the feedback and really, really chewed on it for days. Really, really chewed on it. And that's one thought and opinion that I disagree with. I think when you are talking from the heart or when you're talking about something serious and you're using slowing down with your pace and you're pausing and people lean in, that's what you want. That's the goodness, the genius. That's when you know that you've created a connection, that they're with you on that story, on that journey, on that talk, whatever you're talking about. They are with you. So people are always telling us in a nonverbal way whether they're on the same page with us. Now that's a whole other talk and a whole other ability. But what I want you right now is to know that you can start integrating and it's being consciously aware of the energy, the power behind your words, the pace at which you say them, and the power of the pause. Because when you can start playing with that, have a little fun with it, right? Have a little fun with it. You're going to see how people lean in, tune in, and hear you. They will really hear you and understand you. So if you want people to actually hear you, if you want to be clear, confident, compelling, start with these 3 things. Okay? And it's going to help really take you to the next level. Your ability to communicate is on you. The way people not understanding you, that's on you. Right? People doing the things that they weren't supposed to do because you told them to do something, but yet that's not what they heard. That's on you. Own your words. Own the conversation. Start paying attention to what you're saying and making sure you are understood. And these 3 power moves, the power, the energy behind the words, the pace, and the pause, oh, those are so juicy. Those are things that you can use right now. Right now. So, I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for tuning in to Breaking Bad Communication. If today's episode sparked a new perspective or gave you a tool you can actually use, then that's what we're talking about. Remember, powerful communication isn't about saying more. It's about saying what matters with confidence, clarity, and purpose. If you're ready to speak up, stand out, and lead with your voice, I got you. Keep tuning in. Be sure to share or leave a review if this hits home. And until next time, let's keep showing up. Let's keep speaking up. And let's keep breaking bad together.